Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah shower countless blessings upon you guys. In the previous lectures, we learned that words are building blocks for the sentences, and these words perform different functions in a sentence. They do different kind of works in a sentence, and on this basis, these words can be classified into 8 grammatical categories called parts of speech. In the previous lecture on parts of speech, I briefly introduced 8 parts of speech, including determiners, which determine the meaning of nouns. And I mentioned that I intend to record separate lectures on each part of speech. So today is the first lecture of that series in which noun is under discussion, under consideration. Like any other language, English also has words which are used to name persons and places and things. We call them naming words. In grammar, we call these naming words nouns. So, if you look at all the naming words in English language, you would notice that there are two broad categories of these naming words which are easily distinguishable from each other. This point, I want to elaborate this point by an example. Just look at this example. Ashoka was a wise king. By the way, Ashoka was a classical Indian emperor who ruled almost the whole of Indian subcontinent, including modern day Afghanistan, around 200 to 300 years before the Jesus Christ. So Ashoka was a wise king. In this statement, there are two naming words. One is Ashoka and the second is king. Both of these, since these are naming words, so both of them are nouns. But this Ashoka, this naming word, this noun applies to a particular king. On the other hand, this naming word king applies to any other king as well as Ashoka. A naming word which applies to a particular person or a particular place or a particular thing, like Ashoka, is called a proper noun, while a naming word which applies to every person of the same class, every place or everything of the same group of the same kind, is called a common noun. A proper noun means one's own name, and common noun means a name which is shared by all. Some other examples of proper noun and common nouns. For example, Sita. This naming word applies to a particular girl, so it is a proper noun. On the other hand, this naming word applies to any other girl, including Sita, so it is a common noun. Why? Because it is shared by all. Hari is a naming word which applies to a particular boy, so it is a proper noun. On the other hand, this naming word applies to any other boy, including Hari, so it is a common noun. It is shared by all. Kolkata is a naming word which applies to a particular city. So this naming word is a proper noun. On the other hand, this naming word, city, applies to any other city as well as Kolkata. So this name is shared by all, so it is a common noun. India applies to a particular country, so it is a proper noun. On the other hand, this naming word applies to any other country as well as India, so it is a common noun. Why? Because this name is shared by every country on earth, but India is not shared by all the countries in the world. It applies to one particular country. So now we have learned that naming words can be broadly classified into proper nouns, which apply to particular places, particular persons, and particular things, and common nouns, which are naming words which apply to persons and places and things in general. Now let's see how proper nouns and common nouns have been defined by Wren and Martin. And Wren and Martin says that a common noun is a name given in common to every person or thing of the same class or kind. And common here means shared by all. On the other hand, a proper noun is the name of some particular person or place or thing. Proper means once on. Now, an important point of punctuation, that proper nouns, they always begin with a capital letter. They always have a capital letter at the beginning, whether they occur at the start of a sentence or in the middle of a sentence or at the end of a sentence. A proper noun will always begin with a capital letter. Now, look at this sentence. He was the Luqman of his age. The noun Luqman, this naming word Luqman, it applies to a particular person, a biblical figure who was known for his unmatched wisdom. This naming word applies to that particular biblical figure. It's a proper noun. But here in this statement, it is being applied to he who is not Luqman, but this naming word Luqman is being applied to another person. What's the reason? Luqman was known for his unmatched wisdom, and as a principle, any person who is the wisest fellow in his community can be called a Luqman. So in this way, a proper noun can be used as a common noun. Now look at the second statement, this one which is being highlighted. Kalidas is often called the Shakespeare of India. We know that this naming word, Shakespeare, applies to a particular historical figure, an Elizabethan master, a poet and dramatist. He was the greatest dramatist England has ever seen. So this name Shakespeare applies to that particular person. It's a proper noun. But in this statement, this naming word is being applied to someone else, some Kalidas. Actually, if a person is the greatest dramatist in his country, or he is the greatest dramatist in a certain community of dramatists, he can be called a Shakespeare of that country, a Shakespeare of that community. So in that sense, Shakespeare, which is a proper noun, can be used as a common. Now, after classifying naming words into two broad categories, proper nouns and common nouns. We leave proper nouns here and we will continue with common nouns from now onwards. If you look at the common nouns of English language, if you somehow manage to prepare a list of all the common nouns in English language and you look at that list intently and keenly, you would notice four different categories of common nouns. Here is this one category in which a naming word applies not to any individual, but it applies to a group or a collection of individuals, a collection of people, or a collection of persons, or a collection of places. For example, crowd. Look at this naming word crowd. It does not apply to an individual. It applies to a group of people. Similarly, look at this naming word team. This naming word, this noun, does not apply to an individual player. It applies to a group of players. Similarly, look at this naming word herd. This naming word does not apply to any individual cattle. It applies to a group of cattle. Similarly, look at the naming word army. This naming word does not apply to an individual soldier. It applies to an organization, a collection of soldiers. The naming word family applies to a group of family members. Similarly, the naming word parliament applies to a collection of elective representatives of the public. And committee also, this naming word committee applies to a group of decision makers. So all these naming words, which does not apply to individuals, but they apply to groups of people, groups of organisms, collection of organisms, collection of things. These naming words are called collective nouns. And these collective nouns, as have been used in these sentences, like the police dispersed the crowd is a collective noun. Similarly, the French army was defeated at Waterloo. Here the army applies to an organization, a group of soldiers, a collection of soldiers. Similarly, look at this sentence. The jury found the prisoner guilty. Jury is a naming word which applies, does not apply to an individual judge. It applies to a collection or a group of judges. Similarly, a herd of cattle is passing. Herd applies to a group of cattle. You know the meaning of a cattle? Cows and bulls are called cattle. So, generally, these collective nouns are treated as singular nouns. We must not confuse a collective noun with a plural noun. Collective nouns are normally treated as singular nouns by the language users. Like, you'll just look at this example, the French army. Army is a collective noun, and the following helping verb was indicates that the noun army is being treated as a singular noun. Similarly, the herd of cattle is passing. This helping verb is indicates that herd, which is a collective noun, it is being treated as a singular noun. When a collective noun applies to a group or a collection, a group consisting of individuals, then that collective noun is treated as a singular noun. Like in this statement, the police dispersed the crowd. The police, which is a collective noun, it applies to a group consisting of individuals. So it is being treated as a singular noun. But now look at this example. Police are investigating the break-in. Here, the collective noun police applies to individuals who are part of a group. It does not apply to a group comprising certain individuals. It applies to individuals who are part of a group. When a collective noun applies to individuals who are part of a collection, who are part of a group, that collective noun is treated as a plural noun. But when a collective noun applies to a group comprising individuals, collective noun is treated as a singular noun. Now, the common nouns, if you look at the common nouns of English language, this is one kind of category that you would identify. The other category of common nouns is the names of qualities. For example, goodness is the name of a quality. Similarly, kindness is the name of a quality. Darkness is name of the quality. Similarly, hardness and brightness and honesty, etc. These are names of qualities. And then in common nouns, you would notice names of actions, like laughter is the name of an action. Theft is the name of an action. Movement is the name of an action. Judgment and hatred are names of different actions. And then you would notice common nouns, which are basically names of states. Childhood is the name of a state, a condition through which everyone passes. Similarly, boyhood is a state. This common noun is naming a state. Youth and slavery and sleep. Sickness is a state, sickness is a condition. Similarly, death and poverty. These are names of states. So, common nouns which are names of qualities or which are names of actions or which are names of states, these common nouns are called abstract nouns. Why? An abstract thing is a kind of thing that we cannot feel with our five senses. We can only think about it. These are just concepts. Similarly, names of arts like music and dance, and names of sciences like grammar and chemistry and computer science, etc. Names of arts and sciences are also abstract nouns. Now, abstract nouns can be formed. You can generate a list of abstract nouns if you have a list of adjectives. What I mean to say is that abstract nouns can be formed from adjectives. From kind, which is an adjective, you can form a noun. Kindness, name of a quality, it's an abstract noun. From honest, which is an adjective, you can form a noun, honesty, which is the name of a quality. So adjectives, from adjectives you can form abstract nouns. You can form abstract nouns from verbs. For example, if you know the verb, you can easily form an abstract noun from it. Like obey. From obey we can form an abstract noun, obedience. From grow, which is a verb, we can form an abstract noun, growth. Abstract nouns can be formed from common nouns. I mean, abstract nouns are themselves common nouns, but abstract nouns can be formed from other common nouns. Like child is a common noun. And from this common noun, we can form an abstract noun, childhood. Slave is a common noun. And from this common noun, we can form an abstract noun, slave. Now, if you keep looking at the common nouns of English language, you would notice that there is a third category of naming words which apply to objects that can be counted. For example, book is a naming word which applies to an object which can be counted. Similarly, apple and boy and sister and doctor and horse. Horse is a naming word which applies to an organism that can be counted. Boy is a naming word which applies to an organism which can be counted. So such naming words which apply to persons and places and things and organisms which can be counted, such naming words are called countable nouns. On the other hand, you would notice that there are some naming words which apply to things that cannot be counted. For example, milk cannot be counted. The naming word milk applies to a substance that cannot be counted. So milk is an uncountable noun. Oil is a naming word and it applies to a substance which cannot be counted. So oil is an uncountable noun. Similarly, gold and sugar and honesty. Honesty is a naming word which applies to something which cannot be counted. So honesty is an uncountable noun. All abstract nouns are uncountable nouns. All abstract nouns are countable nouns. For example, goodness and kindness and whiteness and darkness and hardness and brightness and honesty and brightness. All these naming words are abstract nouns and they cannot be counted. So these are uncountable nouns. Similarly, laughter and theft and movement and judgment and hatred, these are abstract nouns. And at the same time, these are uncountable nouns. Childhood and boyhood and slavery and sleep and sickness and death and poverty, these are all abstract nouns. And they are uncountable nouns at the same time. So guys, today we have learned that like any other language, English has a lot of naming words. And these naming words can be broadly classified into proper names, proper nouns, and common nouns. And these common nouns are further classified into 4 grammatical categories. Collective nouns, which apply to collections and groups of entities. Abstract nouns, which are basically names of qualities and names of action and names of states. And then we have countable nouns, which apply to things which can be counted, and uncountable noun, which applies to things that cannot be counted. And now the exercise in grammar 3, in which we are supposed to point out the nouns, and then we are supposed to say whether they are common nouns or proper nouns, collective nouns or abstract nouns. So let's solve the exercise now. The crowd was very big. In this statement, there is a naming word crowd, and this naming word crowd applies to a group of people. So crowd is a noun and it is a collective noun. Statement number 2, always speak the truth. Truth is a naming word and it is something that we cannot perceive with our 5 senses. It is something that we can only think of. So it is an abstraction. It is the name of an abstraction. It is an abstract noun. Similarly, statement number 3, we love honesty. Honesty is the name of a quality. It is an abstract noun. Our class consists of 5 pupils. Class is a noun. It is a naming word. And since it applies to a collection of people, so it is a collective noun. On the other hand, pupils is a common noun and it is in plural form. Statement number 5, the elephant has great strength. Elephant is a common noun. It is a naming word which is shared by all such animals. And then we have another naming word, this one, strength. It applies to equality. It is the name of equality, so it is an abstract noun. Solomon, statement number 6. Solomon was famous for his wisdom. There are two naming words in this statement. One is Solomon, which applies to a particular biblical figure, a particular person. So it is a proper noun. And the second naming word is wisdom, since it is the name of a quality, it is an abstract noun. Statement number 7. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Cleanliness is a quality, so it is an abstract noun. Godliness is another quality, it is also an abstract noun. When you live a moral life according to the principles of religion, we say that you live in godliness and you live in holiness. These are the highest ideals uh, in any religion, to live your life in godliness, to live your life in holiness. So, statement number 8. We saw a fleet of ships in the harbor. There are three naming words in this statement. One is fleet. Since this naming word applies to a collection of ships, so it is a collective noun. Ships is a common noun in the plural form, and harbor, which is the name of an area of sea which is enclosed and uh, it is safe from the open sea, and it is a place where ships are sheltered, so it is also a common noun. In this statement, harbor is being used in its literal sense, but I have written a sentence in which harbor is being used in its figuratively. It is being used figuratively. In statement number 8, it is being used literally. Look at this statement. She felt as though she had reached a safe harbor after sailing in a vast, unfriendly sea. In this statement, harbor is being used figuratively, but in statement number 8, harbor is being used literally in its literal sense. Statement number 9. The class is studying grammar. I can identify two naming words in this statement. One is class, since this name applies to a collection of people, so it is a collective noun. And the second naming word is grammar. It applies to a science. It is a scientific study of language, so it is an abstract noun. Statement number 8. The Godavari overflows its banks every year. The Godavari, it is the second longest river in India. Since it is the name of a particular river, it is a proper noun. Banks is a common noun, and year is also a common noun. Year is an abstract noun because year cannot be felt, it cannot be seen. It is the name of time. Time is an abstraction. Year is an abstract noun. Statement number 11. A committee of 5 was appointed. There is only one naming word in this sentence, and that naming word is committee. Since this naming word committee applies to a collection of decision makers, so it is a collective noun. Statement number 12. Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India. There are many naming words in the statement. The first one is Jawaharlal Nehru. It is a naming word which applies to a particular Indian politician who was a central figure in India in the middle of the 20th century. And he was an anti-colonial nationalist politician. So Jawaharlal Nehru is a proper noun. Prime Minister is another naming word which applies to a head of the state where there is a parliamentary form of government. So Prime Minister is a common noun. And the third naming word, India, this naming word applies to one particular country, so it is a proper noun. Statement number 13. The soldiers were rewarded for their bravery. There are two naming words in this sentence. The soldiers. It is a naming word which applies to soldiers in common. So it is a common noun. And bravery is the name of a quality. And names of qualities are abstract nouns. Statement number 14. Without health, there is no happiness. There are two naming words. First one is health. Since health is a quality, it cannot be felt with our five senses. We can only think of it, but we cannot feel it. We can neither see it, nor touch it, nor smell it, nor taste it. So it is an abstract entity. It's an abstract noun. Similarly, happiness is the name of a quality. So it is also an abstract noun. Statement number 15. He gave me a bunch of grapes. There are two naming words in the statement. First one is bunch. This naming word applies to a collection of something. So it is a collective noun, while grapes is a naming word which applies to a certain kind of fruit in general. So it is a common noun. Statement number 16. I recognized your voice at once. There is only one naming word present in the statement, and that is this one, which I am going to highlight. Voice. So voice cannot be felt with five senses. We can only think of it. Voice is an abstract entity. It is an abstraction. It is an abstract noun. 17. Our team is better than this. There is only one naming word in the statement, and that is team. This naming word applies to a collection of players, so it is a collective noun. Statement number 18. Never tell a lie. A lie is a naming word which applies to something which we cannot feel with our five senses. We can only think about it. So it is an abstract noun. Statement number 19. Wisdom is better than strength. Wisdom is the name of a quality, so it is an abstract noun. Similarly, strength is the name of a quality. It is an abstract noun. Statement number 20. He sets a high value on his time. There are two naming words in this statement. One is value. Value is an abstract noun. Similarly, time. Time is also an abstract noun. Because time, we cannot feel it with any one of our five senses. We can only think of it. Statement number 21. I believe in his innocence. Innocence. Innocence is a quality. It is the name of a quality, so it is an abstract noun. In this statement, look at this statement. I asked if he was married in all innocence. In this statement, the abstract noun innocence is being used idiomatically. In all innocence is an idiom. I asked if she was married in all innocence means that I asked her this question, but I did not realize that it might upset her. Statement number 22. This room is 30 feet in length. First naming word is room. It applies to any other room, so it's a common noun. And then we have feet, which is the name of a measurement. It is also an abstract noun. And length is again an abstract noun because length is a concept. It is not an object that we can feel. Statement number 23. I often think of the happy days of childhood. Days is a common noun. No, sorry. Days is an abstract noun. It is not a common noun. And childhood is again an abstract noun. Statement number 24. The streets of some of our cities are noted for their crookedness. Streets is a common noun in the plural form. Similarly, cities is a common noun in the plural form. And crookedness is a quality, so it is an abstract noun. And this crookedness is an abstract noun which is formed from the adjective crooked. Let's see in this statement where crooked is being used informally. It is not you I am crooked on, it is him. It is not you I am crooked on, it's him. It means that it is not you I'm angry at, it is him. So I am taking this occasion to teach you some language as well. Statement number 25, the last statement of this exercise. What is your verdict, gentlemen of the jury? Verdict is an abstract noun because verdict cannot be felt with our five senses. We can only think of it. You can say that we can see verdict, the judgment of court. We can see it. You don't see verdict. You see a piece of paper and you see uh, letters of the alphabet printed out on that paper. You do not see the verdict. Verdict is an abstraction. It's a concept. So it's an abstract noun. And then gentleman. Gentleman is a common noun in the plural form. And jury, since this noun jury applies to a collection of judges, so it is a collective noun. When the jury consists of only male judges, we say gentlemen of the jury. And if the jury consists of male and female judges, then we say, what is your verdict? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. When jury consists of male and female judges, then we say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. If it consists of only male judges, we say, gentlemen of the jury. So this was the exercise in composition 3 and the exercise in composition 4. Write the collective nouns used to describe a number of cattle. Cattle are cows and bulls. A number of cattle, a number of cows and bulls. The collective noun used for them is herd. H-E-R-D, herd. But if you think that this collective noun herd applies to cows and bulls only, then you are mistaken. Look at the statement in front of herd. She pushed her way through a herd of lunchtime drinkers. I'm again going to read it. She pushed her way through a herd of lunchtime drinkers. Here, the collective noun herd is being applied to human beings. Of course, it is derogatory and it is offensive. You also say the common herd. The common herd means the common people. And then we use herd idiomatically. Why follow the herd? Why we should think the same as anyone else does? Why we should do the same as anyone else does? Put idiomatically, why follow the herd? And then collective nouns, when we want for a number of soldiers, is army. And army is a collective noun which applies to a number of soldiers. But if you think that army applies to only soldiers, you are mistaken. Look at this example. An army of advisors, an army of volunteers. And this one, an army of ants marched through the path. Collective noun used to describe a number of sailors. Sailors are the people who work at a ship. They are called sailors. The collective noun for a number of sailors is crew. But if you think that crew applies to only sailors, you are mistaken. Look at this example, a camera crew, an ambulance crew, a rescue crew, an emergency crew, a ground crew, a ground crew, people who are at ground and who do the work of maintenance and repair of an aeroplane, they are called the ground crew. Now, write the qualities that belong to boys who are lazy. Now, the name of the quality is laziness. Lazy is an adjective, and from this adjective we can form an abstract noun, laziness. Cruel is an adjective, and from this adjective we can form abstract noun, cruelty. Brave is an adjective, and from this adjective we can form a collective abstract noun, bravery. Similarly, foolish is an adjective, and from this adjective we can form an abstract noun, foolishness. Now, the brave is an adjective. Look how adjective is being used in a sentence. I had to put on a brave face and show her that I wasn't worried. I had to put on a brave face and show her that I wasn't worried. Now look at exercise in composition 5. Form abstract nouns from the following adjectives. We know that abstract nouns can be formed from adjectives, they can be formed from uh, common nouns, and they can be formed from verbs. Now, adjectives are given. All we have got to do is to form abstract nouns. Long is an adjective, and from long we form the abstract noun length. Now, adjective long is being used idiomatically in this statement. There is a list of repairs as long as your arm. As long as your arm. It means that there is a very long list of repairs. Young is an adjective, and from young we can form abstract noun youth. Humble is an adjective. From humble we can form abstract noun humility. Decent is an adjective. From decent we can form abstract noun decency. Decent, decency. Now see how decent is being used idiomatically. This adjective is being used in a sentence. He did the decent thing and resigned. It means that he did what he was expected by the society and by the community to do in a difficult situation. Cruel is an adjective, and from cruel we form cruelty. Bitter is an adjective. From bitter we form abstract noun bitterness. Bitter. Let's see how bitter is used in a sentence. The election defeat was a bitter pill for the party to swallow. A bitter pill to swallow is an idiomatic expression in which the adjective bitter is used. A language point. Strong will change into strength. Strong is an adjective, it will change into an abstract noun, strength. There is a strength in numbers, it is a saying. True is an adjective, and from true we form abstract noun, truth. The truth will out, saying that you cannot conceal truth for a very long time. Very soon it will come out. Be economical with the truth. When you are economical with the truth, you are telling half truth. You are not giving the complete uh, information. It does not mean that you are telling a lie. You are just withholding some of the information. Short is an adjective. It will change into shortage. And short is being used in a idiomatic phrase, have a short fuse. Have a short fuse. It means have a short temper. Somebody has a short fuse. It means somebody has a short temper. Prudent is an adjective. It will change into prudence, an abstract noun. Similarly, dark will change into darkness. Look at this idiomatic use of dark. He has got 2 children, but he kept that dark. It means that he kept that secret. Deep is an adjective. It will change into depth, an abstract noun. See, You are in deep shit now. It's a slang word. You are in serious trouble now. And then an in-depth study. Abstract noun in-depth is being used. Wide, an adjective, it will change into width. Width is an abstract noun. How wide is being used in a sentence idiomatically. Predictions turned out to be wide off the mark. Wide off the mark is an idiom. It means that predictions turned out to be inaccurate. He gave the dog a wide berth. It means that he did not go very near the dog. When you do not go very near a person, when you do not go very near an animal, you give that animal or dog a wide berth. Wise is an adjective, it will change into wisdom. Let's see how this adjective wide is being used idiomatically. Anyone can be wise after the event. When you have suffered from the bad consequences of an action, you become wise. This is what it means. Thank you for those thank you for those pearls of wisdom. Good is an adjective, it will change into goodness. There are a good many people there. It means that there are a lot of people there. Vacant is an adjective, it will change into vacancy, an abstract noun. Sweet is an adjective, it will change into sweetness, an abstract noun. And let's see how sweet is being used idiomatically. To whisper sweet nothings in somebody's ear. To whisper sweet nothings in somebody's ear means to whisper romantic words in somebody's ear. Human will change into humanity, and broad. This word is very frequently mispronounced as broad. This word is pronounced as broad, and broad is an adjective. It will change into bread, which is an abstract noun. Let's see how broad is used in sentence and in an idiomatic expression. Paint something with a broad brush. When you paint something with a broad brush, you leave out important details. And when you paint somebody with a broad brush, you describe somebody by leaving out most of the important details. Free is an adjective, it will change into freedom, an abstract noun. This time he gets a free pass, but if he does it again, he will be sent to jail. Get a free pass is an idiom that this time he will not be punished, but if he does it again, he will be sent to jail. Proud is an adjective, it will change into pride. Brave will change into bravery. Novel means new, it will change into novelty. Quick, an adjective, it will change into quickness. High, an adjective, it will change into height. Poor, we very frequently mispronounce this word. I do not know about the other varieties of English, but in British English, this word P-O-O-R is pronounced as poor, not poor. So poor will change into poverty. Let's see how this poor is used idiomatically. Sparkling white wine. Sparkling white wine is the poor man's champagne. Sparkling white wine is the poor man's champagne. I don't want to dwell on its explanation. Its meaning is obvious. And then fuel poverty. Fuel poverty is a kind of poverty in which you fail to provide fuel in your kitchen. Just is an adjective, it will change into justice. I think she has got her just desserts. Do not pronounce it as desert. It is desserts, food. I think she has got her just desserts. She has got what she deserved. She didn't do herself justice in exam. It means she didn't perform as she was expected. Vain is an adjective, it will change into vanity. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. When you take somebody's name in vain, you are showing disrespect. Showing, leaving, taking someone's, taking a person's name in vain is disrespect. But taking the God's name in vain is blasphemy. So do not take the Lord's name in vain. Sane is an adjective, it will change into sanity. Ignorant is an adjective and it will change into ignorance, an abstract noun. Let's see how ignorance is used idiomatically. Some doctors believe that ignorance is a bliss and don't give their patients all the facts. Ignorance is a bliss, is a saying. Now form abstract nouns from the following verbs. Laugh is a verb and we can form an abstract noun from it. It will become a laughter. It is also pronounced as laugh and laughter. Laugh and laughter. Both pronunciations are correct. Laugh like a drain. It means that laugh too loudly. Split your sides with laughter. When you split your sides with laughter, you laugh a lot. Obey will change into obedience. He has acted in obedience to the law. Blind, total, complete, unquestionable obedience. These words collocate with obedience. Live is a verb. It will change into life, an abstract noun. You have never been to Lahore. You haven't lived. You haven't lived is an idiomatic use of live. It means that your life is incomplete if you have never been to Lahore. Say depart this life instead of die. Some people prefer to say, when they want to say that somebody has died, they do not say that somebody has died, they say somebody has departed this life. Expect will change into an expectation. Excel will change into an excellence. A child, as a child, he excelled at music and art. She turned out to be an organizer par excellence. When you are an organizer par excellence, you are the best organizer of the lot. When you are a teacher par excellence, you are the best teacher in the faculty. Now is a verb and it will change into knowledge. This is where I grew up. I know this area like the back of my hand. Know this area like the back of my hand. It's an idiom. Public knowledge, common knowledge. Their relationship is a public knowledge. Their affair is a common knowledge. Steal will change into stealth. Steal somebody's heart. Lions rely on stealth when hunting. Believe is a verb and it will change into belief. Believe it or not, he has asked her to marry him. Political beliefs. It beggars belief. It beggars description. When something beggars belief, something is so strange that you cannot believe. When something beggars description, something is so horrible that you cannot describe. Serve is a verb. It will change into no. Serve will change into service. First come and first serve. It's a saying. You have done a great service. Let me correct this one. It is not starvation, it is service. From serve, we form service. Hate is a verb, it will change into hatred. I hate to trouble you, but I hate to say it, but it means that the speaker is reluctant to give somebody a trouble. He is reluctant to say something. A profound hatred of war. a use of the abstract noun hatred. Please will change into player. Please the eyes. When somebody pleases your eyes, somebody is eye catching, somebody is very attractive. Daytime TV is one of my guilty players. Guilty players. The use of an abstract noun player. It means that you are taking player in daytime TV and you also believe that it is not good. Act is an action, it will change into action. Act is a verb, it will change into an action, which is an abstract noun. Can you act as an interpreter? Swing into action or take evasive action. When you take evasive action, you are actually trying to avoid a collision. For example, the pilot took evasive action to avoid mid-air collision. Starve will change into starvation. She is starving herself to try to lose weight. Die of starvation. Starvation wages, and starvation wages are very minimum wages, and starvation diet is very minimum diet. Occupy is a verb, it will change into occupation, an abstract noun. How do you occupy your time? I mean, how do you fill the time space? What do you do in your leisure time? He intends to remain in occupation of the building as long as possible. Choose is a verb, it will change into choice, an abstract noun. It depends which career path you choose. She is the obvious choice for the job. Move is a verb and it will change into movement, an abstract noun. He works when the spirit moves in. Monitor somebody's movements. Conceal is a verb and it will change into concealment. Tim could barely conceal his disappointment. The concealment of truth, the concealment of crime. Seize is a verb and it will change into seizure, an abstract noun. Seize the chance, seize the opportunity. This word is also pronounced as opportunity, but that is American English. Seize the initiative, the seizure of Burma by Japan in 1942. Flatter is a verb and it will change into flattery, an abstract noun. How will you manage without me? Don't flatter yourself. You think that you will manage without me, but I don't think so. This is what the idiom don't flatter yourself means. Flattery will get you everywhere, but some people believe that flattery will get you nowhere. Depart is a verb, it will change into departure, an abstract noun. The train departed Amritsar at 6:15 p.m. I made preparations for a speedy departure. Persevere, persevere. When you continue, you carry on your struggle, your efforts without difficulties. Even in the face of difficulties, you continue your efforts, you persevere. And this action is called perseverance. You have to persevere with difficult students. It may take some perseverance to find the right people. The right people are a scarce commodity. It always takes time to find the right kind of people in life. Defeat, no, defend. Defend is a verb and it will change into defense, an abstract noun. Freedom must always be defended. To spring, jump, rush to the defense of somebody, to the defense of something. Think is a verb, it will change into thought. She thought him kind and generous. Negative thoughts can be a symptom of depression. Protect is a verb and it will change into protection, action word. No, an abstract noun. All these pages are password protected. He wears a helmet as protection. Advise is is a verb and it will change into advice, an abstract noun. I'd advise extreme caution. That is a very sound advice. A piece of advice. When you want to talk about a single advice, you always say a piece of advice. When there are more than one such instances when somebody has given you advice, so the advice become multiple. You do not say many pieces of advices. In that case, you say some advice. He gave me some advice at different occasions. It means that it was not one piece of advice. When you want to refer to a single instance of giving or receiving somebody's advice, you say a piece of advice. When there are multiple, you say some advice. Punish is a verb and it will change into punishment. To punish a criminal, punishment should fit the crime. Die is a verb. It changes into an abstract noun, death. The words died on my lips. Here, the verb die is being used figuratively. The words died on my lips. It means that I couldn't speak. An award can be the kiss of death for a writer. Death, an abstract noun, is being used in an idiom. The kiss of death. An award can be the kiss of death for a writer means that after winning the award, his skill will deteriorate and he will no more produce any masterpiece of literature or art. Succeed is a verb, it will change into success. Nothing succeeds success, it is an idiom, it is a saying. Nothing succeeds saying that if you succeed in one field, you automatically succeed in many other fields. When you become rich, you succeed in your career, you also succeed in your social relationships. People start liking you. The sweet smell of success, it's an idiomatic expression. Free is an action word, it is a verb, it will change into freedom. A good kick finally freed the door. One of the most basic freedoms is the right to peace. See is a verb, it will change into sight. She will never see again, it means that she is blind. She looks like she looks a sight in that hat. She looks a sight in that hat. It means that she looks ridiculous in that hat. Judge is a verb and it will change into abstract noun judgment. He sensed that she was judging him. How dare you sit in judgment on me? Sit in judgment on me is an idiomatic expression. How dare you sit in judgment on me? How dare you sit in judgment on me? It means that you have no right to pass a judgment about me. Pursue is a verb, it will change into an abstract noun pursuit. He will still pursuing, he was still pursuing his studies, the endless pursuit of wealth. Relieve is a verb and it will change into relief, an abstract noun. A boy with a knife relieved him of his wallet. Here, relieved is being used ironically. She sought relief in drink. Converse is a verb and it will change into conversation, an abstract noun. The two men were conversing on music and opera. Kara kept up a one-sided conversation. Discover is a verb and it will change into discovery, an abstract noun. Discover the joys of yoga. There may be many unexpected treasures awaiting discovery. Now, we know that abstract nouns can also be formed from common nouns. Here we are given common nouns and we are supposed to form abstract nouns. I have also taken this occasion to teach you some grammar points. So I have written some phrases and some sentences in order to highlight the usage of these common nouns and these abstract nouns. And I hope that you guys would find these phrases and these sentences uh, very interesting and very informative and educating. King is a common noun and it will change into kingdom, which is an abstract noun. The king of comedy, animal kingdom, vegetable kingdom, mineral kingdom. Man is a common noun and it will change into manhood and it is an abstract noun. In man, the brain is highly developed. To reach manhood, it means that you reach to reach puberty. Thief is a common noun and it will change into theft, which is an abstract noun. A gang of thieves. A number of thefts have been reported recently, and there is an idiom as thick as thieves. That when some people are very close to each other, some very bad people are very close to each other, it means that something is going on, something wrong is going on there. Woman, common noun will change into an abstract noun, womanhood. She is all woman. She is all woman. It means that she has all the physical features of a typical woman. The womanhood of this country, the womanhood, women in general, the woman population of the country. Bankrupt is a common noun. It will change into bankruptcy. Britain's biggest bankrupt, and similarly, moral and political bankruptcy. Infant will change into infancy. Infant is a common noun, and infancy is an abstract noun, a stage through which everyone has to pass. Jaundice in premature infants. Vaccination is given in early infancy. Honor, honor is a common noun and it will change into ownership. A dog owner. The restaurant is under new ownership. Rogue is a common noun and it will change into roguery. He is a bit of a rogue but very charming. The political system of UK is staggering under pressure of Russia's roguery. Regent is a common noun and it will change into regency. Regent is a head of the state. If when a king dies and there is a time before another king ascends the throne. In the meanwhile, as a makeshift arrangement, somebody runs the country until the second king ascends the throne. That person who in the meanwhile runs the country is called regency, and that form of government or that period of time is called regency. So regent will change into regency to act as a regent. The regency of George August Frederick. Author is a common noun. It will change into authoress. Who is the author? Mother will change into motherhood, which is an abstract noun. Jenny is a stay-at-home mother of three. Motherhood suits her. Agent will change into agency, which is an abstract noun. The charity has been an agent for social change. He obtained his position through the agency of a friend, that it was his friend's help. It was because of his friend's help that he obtained this position. Hero will change into heroism. This word is generally mispronounced as heroism. Hero will change into heroism. He was hailed as a hero after the rescue. Fighters displayed both heroism and staunchness. Beggar. Beggar is a common noun and it will change into beggarliness, an abstract noun. If wishes were horses, beggars might ride. It's an idiom. If wishes were horses, beggars might ride. And then beggarliness. Coward is a common noun. It will change into cowardice, an abstract noun. You coward, what are you afraid of? She was ashamed of her cowardice. Priest is a common noun. It will change into priesthood, an abstract noun. A Hindu priest to enter the priesthood. Boy is a common noun and it will change into boyhood, an abstract noun. He spent most of his boyhood with his grandmothers. Bond is a common noun. It will change into bondage, an abstract noun. Somebody's word is their bond. Some people, when they give a word of their honor, when they make a promise, they always fulfill it. Women's liberation from the bondage of domestic life. Pirate will change into piracy, an abstract noun. Software pirates and software piracy. Pilgrim will change into pilgrimage. Millions of pilgrims travel to Mecca. His grave has become a place of pilgrimage. Friend, common noun, will change into friendship, an abstract noun. Man's best friend. When somebody wants to refer to a dog, uh, we generally use this phrase, man's best friend. It means dog. We were greeted with warmth and friendliness, a lifelong friendship. Captain, a common noun, it will change to captaincy, an abstract noun. A captain in the army. He took over the captaincy from someone else. Rascal, a common noun, it will change into rascality. Come here, you little rascal. The two of them engaged in all kinds of rascality in college. Patriot will change into patriotism. Patriot and patriotism. Pay attention to the pronunciation. I wouldn't say I'm a great patriot, but I would never betray my country. And a wave of patriotism. A wave of patriotism. Glutton is a common noun and it will change into gluttony. Glutton is somebody who consumes a lot of food. She is a glutton for challenges. Being a glutton for punishment, I decided to climb all three peaks in one day. When you are a glutton for challenges or a glutton for punishment, it means that you are somebody who loves to perform tasks which are extremely difficult. If you love to perform tasks which are extremely difficult, you are a glutton for punishment and you are a glutton for challenges. Gluttony is a serious failure in discipline. It means that consuming a lot of food is a serious failure, a failure in self discipline. And then the idiomatic use of gluttony. He accused the nation of energy gluttony, that is an excessive use of energy. So today, guys, in this very long lecture, I tried to explain the first part of speech noun, and I expect that you guys would find today's lecture very informative and very educating and very helpful in your studies. If you want to appreciate my effort, consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell button. That is the only fee I charge for my lectures. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz. God bless you. Allah protect you.